I can't really speak for the summer one, if it got easier,
Yeah.
because in the first turn I hit a tree and I was out. I feel like it's never easy for me to handle my bike. Like I always have trouble. Yeah.
This one is going to be so muddy. Like I would never be able to do the kind of watts I did the last time on the trainer.
Like
Yeah.
it is almost like a stage race, but
Yeah.
I mean it's a very nice break to doing Swift all the time.
Hell yeah.
I can only imagine how that would be. I feel like when you can see a lot of old people, I'm probably in the right mix.
Yeah.
Blown up. Altså hvor store vi er.
Just gotta sync up the old mic. This is probably the most expensive mic that you could ever get. Like, the iPhone is
Super
such an expensive
Yeah.
mic.
But it can do so many things.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome. This is like a new segment we're gonna do on the channel. I think like we've been talking about names. Couldn't really come up with one. I think that couch talks actually could be a good one, but we're not in the couch today.
No.
But usually we spend
Which is very atypical for us.
Exactly. But anyway, this segment is just us talking about expectations and build-ups towards races, and we'll probably also do like a sum up afterwards the race, just to talk how did it go and so on. Yeah, welcome. Okay, so next week we're gonna race the gravel series. It's the second round.
Yeah.
There's actually recon today, which is
Which
would have been cool to join, but I've been sick the whole week and my bike is at the mechanic, so
yeah. I don't feel good either. So.
Great. So the gravel series, it's basically a series of 3 races during the winter. The races are on loops, and I think the loops are about 8 to 14 kilometers long.
Yeah.
We race for 70 to 100 minutes, full gas. The one that gets the most rounds is the winner. And this year there's also, or previous years there's also been like a overall category. But this year they've got a leader's jersey, which is really cool, I think. So yeah.
So basically the GC, like
Yeah.
it is almost like a stage race, but
Yeah.
you know, with a lot of days in between each stage, I guess.
Yeah. So this is actually the first time that we are participating in it. I was in one race last year. It's your first time,
It's
right?
my first time. Yeah.
Why do we even bother racing this time of year?
I mean, it's a very nice break to doing Swift all the time.
Hell yeah.
Swift is so tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really sucks sometimes, and especially if you have to do, you know, intervals and stuff like that. I don't know. It's very different when the bike is static.
Yeah.
You can't really push right into the pedals. It's a weird feeling. So I feel like you can actually do some efforts when you have the races.
But you also get pushed a lot about like the competition side of things.
Yeah.
Like I would never be able to do the kind of watts I did the last time on the trainer, or even out alone race training. So yeah, the competition side is big for me, I think.
Yeah.
And also like getting up to speed, like when you're doing loops, like in a crit race, you also get used to the course, and it's just getting faster and faster and faster. And having to sit on the wheels outside in the mud, for me at least, I get challenged technically. Like I get so much skill out of just following people's lines and pushing myself, I guess.
I feel like it's never easy for me to handle my bike. Like I always have trouble. And for me, it's super nice to do loops because you kind of learn how to take the turns.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I don't really follow other people's lines that much. I don't think I care as much about being fast as you do, but to me, it's very helpful to just try and try and try again.
Yeah.
Instead of everything just being new every time you take a turn. I think for me, that's super difficult.
Yeah, but still, I think that these winter races, they also did a summer race last year. And in the summer race, I really felt like you could take the corners better and better and better. But I think that in these winter races, the conditions just change every lap.
Yeah.
Especially the single tracks are just, it's a whole new experience every lap I get there.
Yeah.
Because there's still like 300 people to the races.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. And what, do you do like 5 laps, 4 laps, 3 laps? I can't remember what.
I remember. Maybe 5?
Yeah. I think that the winners are about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So it's like the typical round is probably like 3 or 4 rounds, I think. So that's a lot of laps for 300 people to go through on single tracks when it's been raining for...
Yeah, it for sure changes.
I don't know, a month. This one is going to be so muddy. So muddy.
I think I can't really speak for the summer one, if it got easier, because in the first turn I hit a tree and I was out.
I had a super good run at the summer one, I think. Also, I don't know if I was lucky, but I was in a group where I was strong enough to be at the front, so I could take the turns that I wanted to, while still having people lead me out, like in 3rd position and stuff.
I can only imagine how that would be. I have no clue.
It's the first time. It's the first time as well. Okay, so let's talk last time actually. The first one, it was in October, November.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. 11th something, I believe. When I looked up the stats, I wanted to see the 20-minute output I did. Yeah. So 11th November. It's the month before December. I can't remember what. November. Is that November? Okay, yeah. The 11th or 12th of November then. I mean, my race sucked, but I still got a lot out of it. I mean, I think that I placed myself a bit too far from the front in the start. So I had to do a lot of position shit in the start, and I hate that stuff. I know you do too. Yeah. Such a mess being at a race where everybody just fights for position, and because these races are not starting on hills and stuff, it's just very fast in the beginning, and everybody can hold the wheel. Like, there's no challenge to do that. And I made it, I don't know, like 2 turns, maybe 2 kilometers into the race, and my back wheel just blew up.
How far up did you start? Like what position?
I don't know, maybe like in terms of rows, it's maybe not too bad. Maybe like 8th row, something. 7th
That's what, 50 people or how many?
Yeah, I think so. 50 or 60 people. Yeah. Like, that's a lot of people. Because
and did you move up or down from that?
That's a great question. I was standing with 2 friends, and they definitely moved more up than I did. Okay. But I think that I moved up. Okay. And just before the puncture, I moved up quite a bit. Like, I was back in the race at that, or not back in the race, but yeah, I was with some guys that could really push the pedals for a long time as well. But yeah, then the wheel just blew up, and I had to kind of fumble around with the plugs, and didn't really help. Tried out a new sealant, cannot remember, will not say the brand yet because I haven't done any testing, so I don't want to say that the sealant is pure shit. No. But my experience with the sealant has been pure shit. Yeah. Like, yeah, I've also done a couple of laps or a couple of winter rides where it just wouldn't seal at all.
I really just like orange seal. I've never had any troubles with it.
No, I'm back on the orange seal as well. Yeah. And it's actually quite funny that we're so impressed by it because it's the endurance one that we're using. So it's not the most powerful one. No. It's the long-lasting one. Yeah. But
enough for me, I think.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, I had to throw in an inner tube, and then it was just a TT once again for me. Become quite good at those. So I did my best, like hour and 20-minute power output. I think it's like 340 watts for 20 minutes. Okay. And 320 something for the whole hour.
For an hour?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not much of a difference.
No.
So it was a TT.
So I think that my 20-minute could have been higher, but yeah, that was such a crazy thing to see on my training peaks when I got home. Insane. Yeah, so I just rode home. I don't know. I don't even know what place I did. How about you?
I know you did worse than me, because that was an important milestone here.
I had forgotten that.
I mean, we always show up together at races. Yeah. So, for some reason, I usually just stand next to you when we start. And that's, among pros and whatever. So I always get demoralized by moving down 100 spots from the get-go. Yeah. But this time I actually, I started way further down.
Yeah.
I feel like when you can see a lot of old people, I'm probably in the right mix.
Yeah.
And that's where I went this time. And I think that's why I actually had a very good experience with it. Like to me, it felt cool because I was able to overtake a lot of people, and I felt like I was in groups or places where, we were kind of same level. That's not the usual experience for me in races. I feel like I often start way too much up front, and then I just got dropped and dropped and dropped until I find my place. But this time it was kind of the opposite, and that was really nice to try.
But usually it's also quite hard to find the place, right? Because then you get dropped from the front, but you never really get into a group because there's a lot of old people who don't train as much as we do. Yeah. And then you're just sitting in no man's land basically. Yeah. Like a lot of the races.
And I think
if you're not in the top 20 or top 30 at races, you're very unlikely to get into a group, I think.
I think that's basically all my race experience. I feel like I do almost all of my races, at least half of the race alone.
Yeah.
And then the other half in a group that's usually a bit better than I am. So I just hang on for dear life.
Yeah.
And then, they carry me part of the way, and then I find my own pace after that. Yeah. But I feel like that's probably the best way to do if you go for, good results at my level. Mm. But it feels so much better to be able to actually do something in a group instead of just hanging on.
Yeah.
So I think even though I didn't get any result at all, any good result at all, this was so much more fun than the other times. And especially because...
You finished.
Yeah. That's a 50-50 kind of situation there. But I finished, and also for me, I suck technically. I can't handle my bike at all.
Me too.
So for me, it was so nice to actually see the improvement lap by lap by lap. I felt like I got a lot of practice just from that race alone, and much more practice than we would get, training basically, because you get pushed to do very hard things in corners and such. And I don't normally do that in training. No. Probably should, but I haven't done that.
That was also part of my motivation to keep going. It's just that we rarely go out into the woods because the mechanical bills are way too high. But like this time. Yeah. Once you're out there and it's cold and you're already wet and the bike is smashed, I mean, you can just take full advantage of it.
Yeah.
You didn't crash? I did a big crash.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't crash. I felt like the first time there was a very steep, hill.
Yeah.
The first time.
The slippery one?
Yeah. And I had to click out the first time, and people were mad, around me that some did, but no, I don't think I crashed.
Okay.
No.
That's a success as well.
Yeah, I stayed on the bike.
Okay, so what about expectations for this one?
I feel... Yeah, I actually don't know, because I'm... the reason why we never practice all of this is, as you said, it's so expensive to service your bike after every single mud session, because I feel like it gets into all creeks. And, especially the wheels, I'm concerned about the bottom bracket and so on. So I don't really know. I think it's going to be super wet.
Yeah.
This one was postponed by a couple of weeks because it was so wet that you couldn't even ride there.
Yeah, but now it's been raining for basically the whole time since they postponed it.
I feel like it just rained even more.
Yeah.
So
the last couple of weeks has been crazy. It's crazy. Also because then there's gotten some snow. Yeah. And then the snow melted and yeah, it's just so cold out there, and the trees are shattering for the sun when it sometimes break through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I usually don't have any expectations because I'm not a front crook guy. For me, it's more about.
But what are your like success criteria for like a race? Like when is it like a good day?
It's very much a feeling for me, and that's why the last race was very nice because I felt like I got better, and I felt like I overtook a lot of people. So I don't really have any goals before. I tend to don't really know what kind of race I'm in before I'm in it.
Yeah.
And like the last time, it suited me very well. I'm probably gonna do some of the same things this time as well, starting a bit lower down. You know, you can recognize some more people now as well. So I feel like you kind of know where your spot is.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing for me, to find a good spot and then just see how I can contribute to that, I guess.
Yeah, I think I wanna start up. I don't even know. I mean, maybe I wanna start up just a bit closer to the front, but then again, like I've been sick this whole week, and yeah, it's so rainy and muddy out there, and you know, we haven't been training any like high intensity stuff, so I also think that the lungs are gonna feel it when we get out into the cold and really get to breathe in air. So maybe I'll start a bit more towards the front, but still just keep my place this time. This time is way more of just getting through it. I think that my success criteria will just be to have a hard day in the saddle where I get to push myself, but also get through it without any mechanicals, because I'm really fucking fed up with punctures and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just gonna try to do that basic, get through it without any harm, and try and see where I'm at, because the training has been very much base. I think we're doing like one long ride each week, and I've been doing about 8 to 10 hours a week on the bike. I think 2 hours of strength, with the focus being on the strength sessions where we actually improve each week, which is really good. And then I have this 25 minutes times 3, which I know that you're also doing. We're at like tempo level watts, so it's no way near threshold. It's more of just under threshold, I think, or how to describe it? It's almost just a high zone 2, almost.
No, I would say that it's just below threshold.
Okay.
Like I would say high zone 3.
Okay. Yeah, it might be.
I don't know if that differs, but you know, we found it through, I guess, Dylan Johnson, right?
Yeah.
I think he describes it as just below threshold.
Okay.
Like it should be very hard for the 25 minutes.
Yeah. The reason I'm saying just over zone 2 is just because my threshold power is always skewed. I feel like the threshold power, my test says are way too high for my zone 2 and also my threshold. Like I cannot sustain those efforts in training, at least.
No.
So I think my zone 2 goes up to 210 watts almost, and when I do these intervals I do it around 230. And my FTP, once I did it, like it was not even like a good day. I had shit days before it and was tired and all that, but still the FTP was 300 watts. So I think that I should be doing like 260 or something for these intervals.
But I think that's probably also why we do it this winter. We've never really had any base training blocks because in the winter it's difficult to bike a lot outside in Denmark, I think. So we spend a lot of time on the trainer, and it's difficult to have 5-hour rides on the trainer. So I think we've trained basically pretty much the same way all year round, and this year we've tried to do some actual base training, meaning a lot of zone 2 long rides and these tempo ones. And I think the purpose is to push up your zone 2 and your tempo, so it's not totally misaligned with your top end, because I think that's how it is now, right?
Yeah, it is, and it's always been like that. I feel like.
Yeah,
but
I think we're both very skewed in that direction.
Yeah. What about gear? I mean, we are. I mean, gear isn't really the most exciting topic for us to talk about for races, because I think a lot of people nerd into what kind of tires am I going to run for this race, and what type of gearing am I going to run for this race.
Yeah.
We run a very set it and forget it thing, but it's not a set it and forget it where we just choose things that look all right. I mean, we put a lot of time into picking the things that we do, but it's just that it's a great all-around thing that I don't really want to pickle with. I mean, for these races, if you really wanted to do good, you'd want some more knobby tires. We're running the Specialized Pathfinder 42, which are slick in the middle, and going up these hills where it's really slippery, that fucking sucks.
That was difficult.
Yeah, that sucks. But also in the winter, when we do any rides, basically, because it's so wet in the woods, we do it on the road. And I don't want to be training on a knobby tire on the road all winter.
No.
So I still think that it's the best tire for winter riding, because it's almost a road tire.
But it's also like, it's probably also the best summer gravel tire, I would say. So it is, for me at least, it is the best all around tire, and I haven't really tried anything else.
No.
On gravel at least.
No.
I mean, but it's because it is some of the best tires, and it really works. I've never really, like, I punctured once on them, I think.
Yeah.
I think you have a different experience, but like, I've had a very good experience with them. They feel super fast. I feel like at least in summer they have enough grip.
Yeah. I think so too.
And on the road as well.
I wouldn't try out the S-Works version. I was thinking about it just because everybody recommends them, because they are a lot lighter. I mean, it's like 100, maybe 200 grams you save for a pair. But for me, the grip in the corners are just so much more worth it, I think. Yeah.
Like, we don't handle well.
No.
So we need everything we can on the sides.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't cost that much on these tires. Like, they are very fast.
Yeah, for sure. And when you say cost, I was just about to mention the other tire, like the probably the only tire that I've really wondered if I should change to, which is the Terra Speed, the Continental Terra Speeds. Yeah. Because they are slightly faster, have a bit more grip because they're knobby all around. But they're also a bit less puncture resistant. Yeah. They wear out quickly, and I mean, the standard prices they're pretty much the same, but the deals on the Specialized Pathfinder are off the charge. Yeah. I mean, you can find them really cheap, whereas with the Continental Terra Speeds, they almost double sometimes. Yeah. So, I think I've spent so much time thinking about a new tire because I really want to try out a new tire. But for the setup that we're running, like the set it and forget it kind of thing, I cannot find a better tire at the moment.
No, and I found these the other day for, what is it, 30 euros?
Yeah.
Like, you can get it super cheap. Yeah. And it is one of the best. Like,
without a doubt. Yeah, I think so too.
Even all the fastest riders in the world, I feel like many of them ride on this one, except if, they're sponsored by something else. Yeah. I feel like the ones that are not sponsored typically rides this.
Yeah, I think so too. This or the Continental Terra one. It's really been popular in Europe at least. I don't think that it's caught on too much at the US gravel scene. But it also, the athletes that we look at the US scene are also all sponsored by tire. Like,
I don't think they are. Like, what about Dylan Johnson?
Yeah, Dylan is not. Like, but I think that the top guys, like, because most of them also come from a mountain bike background, and it's very typical that mountain bikers actually have a tire sponsor for some reason. Maybe it's just because they're willing to spend a lot more, like the tire manufacturers, on sponsoring people than they are in the gravel scene.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway.
But I do feel like, it's tubeless that makes things a bit difficult with trying other things.
Yeah,
If
for
it
sure.
If it wasn't tubeless,
I
I would
would
probably have a race tire for these 30 series and then Pathfinders for everything else.
For sure.
But with tubeless, I feel like it's a big hassle to swap it out.
And it's not like tubeless is a hassle, but it's such a fucking hassle to clean.
Yeah.
It's the cleaning part.
Yeah.
Because like once we run it, it's like so easy to set up. You just put in some sauce and then you slip the tire around and you just top it off, I don't know, like for each 90 days or something.
Is it that often?
the Silka one says that it's that often, but I don't know. The other brands don't say anything, so it's
maybe
just
I have to check mine.
Yeah, usually the way that we check it is just that the airs tend to lose air, right?
But I feel like usually. But I feel like you can just shake it and see if there's something in it.
Yeah,
right?
I think so too.
You can hear it.
Yeah, but this time around I have a super exciting thing about my setup. Because I've got a new wheel sponsor, which means that I've got, this is the road version, I think it's called the CC50, and I've got the CH40, which are the all-around wheel. The wheel sponsor is Lease. The reason that I partnered with them is basically just because they fit my profile pretty fucking well. I mean, it's a German company, which means reliability.
Yeah.
At least that's what it means for me. And they don't cost a lot. I mean, it's like €1,000.
Yeah, I think
maybe
so.
some of them are under €1,000 actually. It's just a no bullshit wheel, and the dimensions on them are really good, as well as the weight. I think that the off-road version that I've got, like the all-around thing,
1,600 grams.
1,600 grams? I think it was 1,500 and something, actually.
Okay.
So I think that it's under one. What did you say? 1,600. Yeah, I think it's under 1,600. It's 33 millimeters wide on the outside, and inside is 28, I think.
Are they hooked?
No, they're hookless. Which is the first time that I'm trying that out. I think if I could choose myself, I would like a hooked rim. But the only reason I'm saying that is because tire manufacturers tend to say that they want their tires to balloon a bit, and the hooking, like it scrunches in the tire in the bottom and then makes the tire balloon a bit. Okay. So that's the only reason. I mean, for the hookless, it's only upsides other than that.
Because it should be more durable, right?
Yeah, it should be more durable.
Perfect.
Yeah, and also the cost of manufacturing them should be lower. So you should be able to get some more affordable wheels, basically.
Yeah.
But watch out, some tires are not compatible with hookless rims. And when I think about it, I actually think that the Continental ones are not compatible with hookless. So that's a good thing that I didn't buy them. I'm just remembering this now. But anyway, I'm going to be running those, which is the first time ever that I will ride a carbon wheel on gravel, which is so exciting.
Let me just tell you, it makes a big difference. We've always been running like these buttery aluminum tire wheels. Yeah. And
the DT Swiss 1800, because they're bomb-proof.
Yeah, but we've never really, we always thought they were good, right? Yeah. But as soon as you got carbon, or I got carbon wheels on mine, it handles completely differently. It feels so much more like my road bike. Like it just does whatever you tell it to do, basically. Yeah. And also... It feels very fast.
And also, they're deep, which we talked about yesterday, I think. A deep wheel somehow makes me want to run lower pressure.
Yeah, me too. I don't know why. No. I feel like you can take more beating.
Yeah, but you probably can't.
No, probably can't. No.
Yeah, but I'm so excited for that. Really, so excited. I've got it at the shop at the moment. They apparently have to change out my brakes, which is so expensive.
The full brake caliber, not just not just the padding or the rotor. The full caliper.
Yeah, so it's gonna get rebleeded and all of that. So I'm really excited to get a bike that can brake again, because the last time we went on the 2 last rides that we've been on, it's been scary.
Only one of them worked. Really.
Yeah, and it's the front brake that worked. And once I was in the shop, they said, okay, like they were checking, oh, do you need to change the brake pads? The back ones, okay, they're all right. The front ones are dead. Like they were like, you have to change these.
The opposite?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's the right way around. So the front ones are worn because that's the only brakes that I could use. The back one where the calipers couldn't move, apparently. Yeah.
Okay, so they were brand new because you didn't use them.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Oh, the left one was very worn, but the right one didn't move, so that wasn't worn at all.
What about your rotor then? Is that bent because it's only the one side that pushes, maybe?
I don't think that it bends it, I just think that it wears it out.
Okay.
So if you're looking down the middle, it might be more worn. But, you know, it's only been for a couple of months. Yeah. So I don't think that you can see that.
Months.
Yeah, but that's not a lot in the winter because we only ride outside once a week if it's dry.
Yeah, some weeks twice even. You know, the intervals are nice if we can do them outside.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's tough to do 3 times 25 minutes on an indoor trainer, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting a front light, and especially the one that we have from Bookman, so good. So good. I've got a review coming as well. Or not a review, it's more first impression. But yeah, that is so good.
Yeah,
really
I
good.
agree.
And gearing, we are always running a 2x setup. I had the Canyon Gristle with a 1x. I actually really liked it. Yeah. Until we went on a trip to Girona, where we went up some steep hills and down some steep hills, where I was just lacking gearing. Yeah. And I've only got one bike now, so the gearing needs to fit everything. Yeah. So the 2x setup for me is a no-brainer. Like there's no reason for me to go to the 1x. No. It's way better for the type of riding we do, I think.
But I do feel like the type of gearing we're running is on the gravelly side. Definitely. And it's maybe slow for the road, but the reason being that, you know, we both have a Crux, and in order to fit some big tires on it, we both opted to have the SRAM wide button bracket and derailleur, because it lets you have some wider tires on.
Yeah, and the problem being is that if you buy that stock, you can only get it, I think, in 43. Yeah. The biggest chainring is only 43, so that's like what people do on a 1x setup.
Yeah, so it's like 43.10 is the highest we have right now. Yeah. And that's probably not really suited for road riding. Well.
I mean, it's on the low side, I will agree to that, and I think that I will be changing to a 46, maybe 48. Yeah. But, I mean, we were at Mallorca, we were riding a road setup, and I didn't really spin out. No, I think I can ride about 60 if I really spin. Okay. But the comfortable thing is probably 50. 50 I can do comfortably. Okay. So I think that there's a lot of fuss going around chainrings. Yeah. You're looking at the pros, and what did Keegan Swenson did a fucking 53 at one race, at a gravel race, which is like what World Tour pros do at road races. Yeah. In a 2x setup. So a lot of people, a lot of not pro riders, actually a lot of, I would say average, they're not average, but they're fast riders, they go for a 46 1x setup. Yeah. And I think that's ludicrous. I really think that's crazy, because then you can go like 70 kilometers an hour on the flat or downhills.
Yeah, that's wild.
Do
you think you can do that? Really?
Not on gravel descents.
No, but like, do you think what is it, 46?
Yeah, I think that you
70
can. Yeah, I think you can do that at about 120 rounds per minute. I checked it because I was looking into chain rings a lot. Yeah.
But 120 is also like, not everyone can do 120 cadence.
Yeah, I get that, but that's like the upper limit. So I always just go for that, because then I can just always compare upper limits. But yeah, I mean, I I think that probably the biggest reason that people get these massive chain rings is just to stay as much in the middle of the cassette as they can.
Yeah.
But if you want a bike where you just do normal gravel riding,
yeah.
I mean, most people will probably say that you need a 1-to-1 ratio, which for the Explorer group set is a 44 at the front. I would say that's too big. On my Gristle, I had a 42 at the front, and the gravel crit race, I averaged 38, I think, kilometers an hour. There's no way I'm gonna average more than that at any gravel race.
Yeah, that's fast.
And I did that with a 42,
yeah.
and I still struggled at some climbs in Girona, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that you could go for a 1-by-1 or 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's also because it's not only a gravel bike. Like the intention is, to have a wheel set for road and then have a wheel set for gravel, and then you can use it on both road and gravel.
Yeah.
That's also why we're both very happy with the Crux, because it reminds us a lot about, a traditional road bike, I think.
Yeah, I was really pleased at having that bike at Mallorca.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be the best bike I've ever brought to Mallorca.
Yeah.
I really liked the Canyon Aeroad. That was such a fast bike.
Yeah.
But going on rough asphalt, you really felt it in the bum.
Yeah, it was
such a stiff bike.
It was a hard ride.
Such a stiff bike.
I feel like my Tarmac is a very stiff bike, but it's not a hard bike to ride.
Yeah, it's
and I feel
so
like
soft
that's the
over
case with the Aeroad.
Yeah.
That it's hard and stiff. It's not comfortable.
No. To me, it's like I don't know if you could say this, but it's like it's an old feeling of a bike.
Which one?
The Canyon Aeroad.
Okay.
There was a time, I think, where road bikes were just we have to make it as stiff as possible. Because also having a stiff bike feels fast.
Yeah.
It feels fast that you're rumbling all over the place, and it does feel fast, but
it's also why people ran 100 psi in tires.
Yeah, it feels fast. Yeah, but that's also due to the type of testing they were doing. They tested the tires on indoor tracks, where it's run a fucking high pressure because it's smooth.
But it does feel fast. It just hurts.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable at all.
No. Yeah. What a sidetrack we just got. Let me know if you want a gear rundown, or I don't know if it's a gear rundown, but just ask us questions about gear and we'll spit about them for hours.
Yeah, we're huge nerds.
Is there anything else? Maybe let's talk pedals actually. You're running your newly, I would say, still converted to mountain bike pedals.
I've always had, traditional road pedals. I think the Asiomas I had for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The look compatible pedal, but with power in.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super good. It's probably the best pedals I've had.
Yeah.
And then Specialized came out with the new Recon shoe. Basically their S-Works mountain bike shoe, I guess.
Yeah.
And that looks exactly like the road version, I think.
Yeah.
So to me, the look and feel of it was super appealing, because I have kind of a wide forefoot, and that suits me very well in a Specialized, because they're usually quite slim with a wide forefoot.
Yeah, especially the new one.
Yeah, especially the new one.
Yeah.
And I tried those out, and it's without a doubt the best shoe I've ever had. So I bought them, and because it's a mountain bike shoe, I had to follow up with mountain bike pedals, obviously.
Yeah.
I run them now, and I was a bit on the fence to begin with if a mountain bike pedal will be more wobbly or less stable, because that's what you always hear from people.
Yeah.
And I think I did.
You did feel it at the start, right?
I did feel that in the start, but a couple of weeks into it, it felt completely normal, and I think I would never go back to road pedals from now on, especially when I have an all bike. I feel like mountain bike pedals are perfect, and it's also nice that you can walk in the shoe, because we do a lot of adventures and bike packing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And to have two different shoes that maybe fit a bit differently, I don't like that. I would rather just have one that works for everything. And the mountain bike pedal and that shoe is perfect for that purpose.
Yeah.
So I'll never, go back to road pedals again. I think that's a perfect fitting shoe for me, and I really like on mountain bike pedals. It feels like you can much quicker click out.
Yeah, it feels like you need less rotation.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, for some reason, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it feels like you're never out of control, and you can always get out if you need to. And I feel like that's important, especially in races like this where it's very muddy and you don't really know when you're gonna stop or slip or something like that.
Yeah, but the mud clearance for this race is also really big.
Yeah.
Like when you step in mud, it just clears out and you're able to clip in right away.
I've never had issues clipping in.
Yeah.
Not even in a lot of mud.
No.
Like it works perfectly. I'm never going back to road pedals again, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really scared for this race. For the dismounting kind of thing.
You have to, stay on the bike, I think.
Yeah, but last time I had to clip in at the same hill that you did as well, because people in front of me are just not. When you're at a line and there's just 5 people in front of you, the pace just gets slower. And when you're like 6th guy on this ladder almost, the pace is just too slow to stay upright on the bike. So at some point you just need to clip out. Yeah. And that's just what happened. And I struggle to clip in every damn dirty race series. And I want to convert, I really do. And I've had the Specialized ones home a couple of times to try them out. And they're all right, but they just tend to squeeze my toes. I've got really Donald Duck feet. So that's also why I ride the Bont shoes, because it's all right. I don't like the boat thingy where the carbon goes up on the sides, but it's all right. I might be trying out the lakes though, but everywhere I look online, and it's also my own experience, is just that it's way too wide in the heel.
And that's what I like about the Specialized.
Yeah,
that
they fit so well on
in the heel.
Yeah.
And then it, splashes out towards the front.
But
and for me, that's enough.
But it's not only the fit of the heel, the materials are just so good.
The Specialized boas as well?
Yeah.
So much better than anything else.
Yeah, I also really liked it. Yeah. Well, that's the gear, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's the video as well, I think.
Yeah.
I think we've been rambling for about 42 minutes now. Yeah. So
we were talking about maybe it's like a 3-minute video.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't think that there's much more to say than thanks for listening. And if you made it this far, give yourself a pat on the back. That's a fucking achievement in itself.
Yeah, you're a nerd as well.
Yeah. And if you want to watch more of this, watch this video more. I'll see it on the views. Otherwise, give it a like and let us know down in the comments where we can improve as well. Be harsh, be real, and we'll fix it.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
Yeah. I'll see you Sunday, I guess. Or is it Saturday? I can't even remember.
I don't know.
I'll see you Sunday at race day at the gravel series. Bye. I've actually seen a study about why people wave at the camera.
Okay, why do they do that?
I don't know. I didn't read it. I just saw the thumbnail and I was like,
someone studied it.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, that's a Corona thing.
Yeah.
It's so true.